The reason I shot this video was to kind of clarify a little bit on a couple of the posts I've made. I know I upset a lot of people with my steel target post, but it wasn't my intention. I didn't want to get into an argument or why certain things were done and how. But in my own defense, I'm going to say that the reason why I prefer paper, number one, is that I can keep records. And number two is that I'm an old competitive shooter. I don't shoot competitively anymore. I haven't for a number of years. My eyesight's going bad. I just had, cataracts removed about 6-7 months ago. And at least I can see a little bit better now. But I just gave it up. And what I'm going to show you are some targets I shot yesterday on Mother's Day. This is Monday. And I shot them at 50 and 75 yards. I shot the 22 long rifle, CCI, standard velocity, at 50 and 75 yards. And I shot the 22 mag at 100 yards. And the 22 mag, I didn't shoot much. That came right when all the stuff was starting to happen. We had some really foul weather yesterday. It was nice in the morning, and then about 11 o'clock, it turned nasty. We had dust, a dust storm, and a rainstorm. The rain following the dust, but it was right on the tail, and for a while we had a mud storm. I mean, it was actually, mud was falling out of the sky. It was really weird. Anyway, let me turn the camera around. I'll show you the targets that I did and give a little bit of explanation on them, and we can go from there, okay? Talk to you in a minute. What I'm shooting today is the CCI standard velocity unsorted, 50 yards. I'll show you the targets a little bit later. Maybe when I get back to the house, we'll go through them and I'll talk about them a little bit. Had some flyers, of course. There's no wind at all. It's partly cloudy. Oh, there's a little breeze coming up. It comes and goes though, but it's negligible really, just enough to feel it. But it is going to get windy later on this afternoon. This is my, I guess you call it a brass catcher. It works really well for 22, well for anything actually, just you have to reposition it for each thing. And there you can see what I've shot so far today. It's not really hard to make. It's a thing that came from Home Depot, a little parts bin. I just pulled all the dividers out and cut a couple of pieces of plywood, particle board, chipboard, whatever. Put it on there to keep the wind from blowing it over, and a bungee cord, and that's it. Works very well. This is one of the targets I shot at 50 yards. The little bulls are 1/4 inch. They're all single shot. As you can see, it's these were unsorted, by the way. And the wind, when I first started at 8:30 in the morning, there was no wind at all. Now there's a couple of ones here that have yips on them. This is a yip. This is a yip. These are both definitely yips. This was probably just me. You know, here's a yip. The other ones are, you know, it's just the way it was. And you know, this is probably an average day for me now. Here's another one. This was the other one that sat right next to it. This one's a little bit worse because we had just a little bit of a wind coming up on this one now. And it was about 8 miles an hour, 5 to 8 miles an hour, I don't really know. But you can see that a lot of them are no longer in the bowl, or even sometimes even close to it, especially the last two down here. These were really bad. And you can actually see here. And I started getting, you know, here, up here, and it was nothing more than the wind, and that's really all it was. And you can see that there's not maybe 3 or 4 in here that are any good. This one was in the bowl. I think this one was in the bowl, or pretty much all of it, and that's about it really. The wind kind of plays a little bit of hectic with it. Okay. Now, what I did after that is I went down to the 100-yard range with the 22 mag. I've shot Hornady, and these are at 100 yards. This was my first one up here. I have a 32 power scope on the 22 mag, so I could see him pretty well. And this shot here belongs up here. And, you know, for 100 yards, it's not bad when you consider this is what? This is about 1.5 inch circle. And this is about 3/4 of an inch in the middle here. And then we go out to about 1.5. So they were all within 1.5 inches. This one wasn't, but that's, you know, that's the way it goes. So you do it a little bit, and then, you know, I figured as long as I better get down there and hit it with no wind. The reason why there was no wind here and there is because we had a big hill behind us that kept the wind away from where we were shooting. Okay, now we go into the 22 long rifle with this is sorted. This is SV sorted, or CCI, standard velocity sorted ammunition at 75 yards. The first one you see up there at the top I was just playing around a little bit. I was shooting real fast, you know, cock bang, cock bang, cock bang, as fast as I could. And it just, the wind was in here. This is where I first started, and I figured, yeah, you know what. So after I finally got it sighted in on these last two here, I went ahead and started shooting for record, I guess, if you want to call it that. And this was the first one. That's 3 shots. And then we have another one. These are all sorted. Come on. The wind was about 5 miles an hour on this one. This was a little bad. This is actually 2 shots. This is 3 shots. Wind was 5 miles an hour out of the east-southeast, which was kind of at my back. And then the last one, 5 to 8 miles an hour as well. It's, you know, this is not bad. That's 3 shots. There's, I think, 5 here. And it's just, you know, I was just playing around, just trying to keep my hand into it. So this is why I shoot it on paper, because now I can take these home, put them on my scanner, scan them in, put them in a folder for this day, and then I can go back and look at them a little bit later and see what I did then versus what I'm going to do next weekend or the weekend after. And I always compare back 2 or 3 weeks. You know, depending on the wind and everything else, and I can make comparisons like that with the wind. Okay, the wind's coming out of this direction at this speed on this day, you know, cloud cover, humidity, all that stuff, okay? And the humidity and all that, I'll go back and look at the calendar on my computer and see what the humidity was, and I'll enter all that in because I couldn't do that out there. I do have a wind speed indicator and a direction. Anyway, that pretty well does it. I hope this kind of explains why I do that, you know. And when you're shooting steel, unless you have a camera out there all the time, it's kind of hard to, you know, keep records. Okay, that'll do it for this one. I hope this explains a little bit and makes things a little clearer on why I'm not a steel shooter. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Bye bye.